7:43. Welcome to the BT studios with our girlfriend Sarah Daniels, talking real estate. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You have helped me personally through this particular diabolical road that you think I've got X number of dollars put down on a house, I've got my mortgage in place, we're good to go, and then the fees start coming in. So that's buying, but let's start with selling, because people don't think, I'm selling a place, how much could it cost?
Yeah, I mean, it's hey, I'm selling, it's all good. Well, the thing is, when you're selling, you and you alone are responsible for the commission. Now, the commission breakdown in British Columbia is 7% on the first 100,000 and 2.5% on the balance, and that is split. That commission is split between two realtors. So if you're selling $1 million property, that's $29,500 in commission, and then you add the GST on top of that. So as the seller, you are paying that commission. So do take that into account, that you're going to be taking that right off the top, and that you
30
have to pay,
grand.
Yeah, so it's going to be 30 grand just off the top. If it makes you feel any better, in Ontario, as you know, 5% commission. So it would be 50,000 on top of $1 million. So you'd be netting out $950,000. And again, they would have GST on their commission as well. So that's the first expense. And of course, with selling, you still have to have a lawyer, so you're going to have legal fees.
Right.
If you're selling in the first part of the year, as like July 1st and before, you're going to be paying your portion of the taxes based on that, because normally, you know, you don't pay your taxes till July the 1st or July the 3rd, whatever the date might be.
That could be a couple grand.
Yeah, so if you're closing on April the 30th, you're going to be owing for 4 months of taxes, and that's going to show on your sheet of adjustments when you go to the lawyer's office.
Okay, let's keep the math going here. So that's 30 plus a lawyer, which is, you know,
about $1 grand,
about $1,000.
And if you're buying too, you're going to have to pay a lawyer for that as well. So there's two different transactions. So that's mostly what you're looking at. Of course, when you're selling, of course, you're going to be the legal transaction fees, like I said. But for the most part, that's your big worry. The most costs come when you're purchasing. Now, the good news is you're not paying the commission.
Right.
First thing, of course, you were supposed to do is go to your mortgage broker, and you're going to find out if you're a first-time buyer, whether you're going to qualify, depending on how much you're spending, for paying property transfer tax. So you do get a waiver up to $475,000 if you're a first-time buyer. Then there's a little bit of an adjustment between $475 and $500, or sort of a declining scale. They try not to cut it right off at $475, because wouldn't it be awful if you bought
$476?
Yeah, exactly. So and then when you get up to $500,000, it's discounted. Now, if you're purchasing as a couple and you've got one of you as a first-time buyer, but the other person has purchased before, there is also a little bit of an allowance for you there.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, so you do have to speak with your mortgage broker.
Okay, I was just going to say, do you have to apply for that? Does the money need to come from that particular individual?
Mortgage broker is going to break that down for you. So if you were purchasing with your partner, your spouse, whoever it may be, a property that is $475,800, there's going to be a certain portion that you can actually avoid tax-wise on property transfer tax, because you're the first-time buyer, and of course because you're with a partner, that's why it's discounted, because they sort of look at it as, you know, you're not going to get the full benefit of that amount. So you're going to be paying the property transfer tax. By the way, that is on top of your down payment. So you can't put the property transfer tax as part of your mortgage. You have to have that as cash at closing. So you've got your deposit, and then you've also got to have your property transfer tax, right? So it's not...
That's cash on hand. That's not something that you're rolling through.
Absolutely. Now, the good news is you're not paying any commission. Hola. So, you know, so you don't have to worry about that. But again, you're going to be paying your lawyer's fees, which is always expensive. You know, that's adding a little bit of extra. And you shouldn't, most of your other fees, like if you have an insured mortgage, that's going to be incorporated into your mortgage, into your monthly payment.
But be prepared, even if that is the case, and you're qualified for mortgage X with your down payment, all of a sudden these other fees come in, and then your monthly mortgage, because you are paying interest on. And
there's going, exactly. So there's going to be, you might want to get an insurance policy on top of that mortgage for liability, death, whatever may happen, so that your mortgage is paid out. But the other thing to take into account too is that you have to be really cautious, just in general. But when you qualify for a mortgage, because a lot of people are going to go online and they're going to say, oh well, the mortgage rate right now is 2.79. 2.79, and this is how much I want to spend, and this is my income. That's what I qualify for. You're wrong. You're actually qualified by the banks at a higher rate. So they don't qualify you at the discounted rate, which we all see and think that we're going to get. You were qualified at a higher rate. So you may actually be able to carry a $500,000 mortgage, but in the bank size, it may only be $350,000. So you have to take that into account too when you're going out and purchasing. purchasing. But there's all sorts of other little things that you're going to have to be thinking about along the way. So there's going to be home insurance, fire insurance, all that kind of stuff. Whether you're going to be like a fire alarm, burglar alarm, any of those kind of things, those are all fees that get tacked on. And of course, then there's property tax.
Right.
So you have property tax every year, and then utilities as well. So you can have that included in your mortgage. If you're buying strata, you're going to have monthly strata fees. Take into account too that, you know, as buildings get older, they do need updates, and so there could be assessments along the line. So if they're upgrading all the piping system in your building, well, they may be taking some of it out of the contingency fund, which the building should have.
Or they might be charging you an assessment that you need to make.
But there will most likely be a special assessment on top of that. Yeah. So
the bottom line here is you need to call someone like Sarah, and you can find her
and your mortgage broker
on your website, of course.
Sure. SarahDaniels.ca. Easy to find.
A great follow on Twitter as well. We love your attitude on both the topic of real estate, but
I have an attitude problem.
You do, and you have a thing about foot selfies. But anyway, but that's a whole other Instagram topic. It's 7:49. When we come back, we're going to talk about slides.